So I don't have a lot of 6-inch superhero figures. I just have a handful, ones that I like or I found that just for some reason or another intrigued me. And this is my very, very small collection. So I just thought I'd show you these. Starting with my favorite, obviously, is just the most amazing one of all, which is the Thing, Ben Grimm. And he is highly articulated, and he also has alternate hands and an alternate head. Let me show you. I'm going to move some of these out of the way, and then I will show them to you as we go. Okay, so the Thing comes with this other right hand that's has wrist articulation, and you can also take his left hand off and give him 2 fists, or he can have 2 open hands. And he also has a head where he's closed-mouthed, where he doesn't have this look of anger. But I mean, talk about an awesome figure. Sculpting, I mean, I like the way he feels. Just a great figure. And since we're on the Fantastic Four, Mr. Fantastic is another wonderful figure. His, of course, superpower is he has the ability to stretch, and therefore he comes with alternate arms. As you can see, they snap in and out very easily, and they bend, so you can pose them. And there's wire in them, so you can pose them to a certain extent. They don't bend as well as I wish they would, but they do bend. And he is a very cool figure. These Marvel Legends figures are also highly articulated. I mean, and they feel solid. They just feel very cool. So, you can get him in a lot of interesting poses. Now, of course, we have the next of Marvel's Avengers. I'm sorry, Fantastic Four. And let me make sure I have all of the parts. This is the Invisible Woman, Sue Storm. When you get her, she has one arm that is in the process of becoming invisible, but you can also take off her other hand and add this other invisible hand. Her sculpting and articulation is great. Just a really, really good figure. And she also came with their trusty little robot sidekick that was on the cartoon, if I remember right, and definitely in the comic books. He has a clear stand, so you can stand him up. And finally, the Human Torch. He is the last of the Fantastic Four figures. He is made out of translucent orange plastic, and he has flame effects all over. He also has this flame that comes off the back of his neck. great articulation, very posable. He also came with 2 alternate fists, and as well as 2 flaming effects that you can put on the end of his fists, which is a really cool effect. So that wraps up the Fantastic Four. The next of my 6-inch figures I want to show you is Bizarro, and I just loved this figure mostly because of the way it was packaged, but also just because I've always wanted to own a Bizarro figure. And he comes with a lot of accessories, but let's just demonstrate this impressive articulation he has. I mean, it's really, really good. And he comes with 2 alternate hands for flying, making the flying pose with his pasty stone-like skin. You can remove his cape, which has the backwards S on the back, and you can also, interestingly, put him in his sort of crazy pseudo Clark Kent outfit. Which is a torn jacket, a pair of glasses, a tie, or you can also alternatively use his Bizarro #1 tag, and it's very interesting. But this is a really cool figure. And my other DC figure is this Joker, inspired by the Heath Ledger Joker. He doesn't come with a lot of accessories, but he does have 1 small knife, and he comes with a evidence playing card that was seen in the movie. Let's see. It's very cool. It feels like a real playing card. It's stiff. It's not a flimsy prop. He has a little watch chain in his purple suit. Articulation's not as good as the other figures, but it's not too bad. You can get him in some poses. He can't sit very well, obviously, because of his suit. The next figure I'd like to show you is Captain Marvel. This is the only Captain Marvel figure I wanted because it was from the scene at the end of the movie where she's wearing her bomber jacket and it's detailed on the back. And she's carrying Goose the cat, and I thought the face looked pretty good. And she's wearing her Captain Marvel suit underneath. It's just an action figure I liked. I didn't particularly care for the other figure of her completely in the suit. This is the one that I like the most. The next figure I have is one of my favorites, which is the Dazzler. This 1970s disco-themed Marvel superhero with her disco Doctor Strange effect, and she's got her microphone because she's also a singer. She's got a necklace, and she wears roller skates, which is a really cool effect. Very posable, very well sculpted. After that, I have Mystique, and Mystique is a very cool figure. She's a very posable figure. She has her regular angry Mystique face. She also comes with 2 alternate heads. Sort of a transitioning one. And one where it looks like she's wearing like a Magneto helmet. And I think it almost looks like you could slide the head out from the inside of it, but I think that might look kind of weird. But that's okay. She also comes with this pistol and this machine gun with a removable drum, which looks very cool. Very posable, very well painted. All of these figures are extremely well painted. Marvel Legends are just great figures. Next is Songbird, another just beautifully done figure with this pair of pink kind of gummy wings. They look like gum, and you can take them off. And she has a removable belt, a removable shoulder piece, and good articulation. My only complaint being is her hands are molded in the flying pose. The only thing you could do really is like do some karate chops with her, although she can get into a good karate pose. If you think about it, that doesn't look half bad. Great posability. Just a pretty figure. Finally, I have Puma. What an interesting looking figure. He is just amazing looking, with lots of separate pieces to complete the effect. He is just awesome, especially his feet. Marvel Legends figures are almost like artist dummies. You can pose them in so many different ways, and I can use them for drawing. They just snap into exciting poses just while you're playing around with them. Very much like a werewolf looking character. Just very cool figures. Like I said, all of them have great articulation. This is not a Marvel Legends figure. This is a DC, and it's an older figure too, with the earlier standards of articulation, with kind of the ugly peg holes, but it's still not a bad figure. I still kind of like it. I think of all of these, my favorite is gotta be the Thing. The Thing is just absolutely, I must gotta say fantastic, but just a wonderful, well done figure with so much articulation and so many different ways you can pose this figure. They're all really good. I'm very proud of my small collection. I don't have a lot, but I do like the ones that I do have. I've always liked Bizarro as a character, and I was jumped at the chance to own one. So this is as good a Bizarro as I've ever seen. And the articulation, the paint, the accessories just makes this a great figure. So very cool set. I hope you liked this video, and I hope I see you again tomorrow. Good night.